Hello, and welcome to Forensics Nation's Pinpoint Protect Prevention Program. In the next 90 minutes, I'm going to take you on an adventure into cybercrime. I'm going to demonstrate how cybercriminals operate, who they target most frequently, the way they hack information, and the damage that they cause. So without further ado, let's get at it. In today's presentation, you will learn things you never knew existed. Because of the internet, your cell phone, laptop, and tablet, you are the target of an increasing amount of cybercrime bent on stealing your identity, your money and assets, and a variety of other cybercrimes we will be presenting to you. Be prepared to be amazed. You do not need to take notes. We will provide you with a download link to our PowerPoint presentation at the end of the seminar, complete with all the links that we provide. We prefer that you just listen and then ask questions. Our staff will remain available at the end of the presentation to answer any questions. You simply write to our support desk. Thank you for being a part of the Pinpoint Protect Prevention Program. I need to put in a disclaimer here. Some of what is presented today may be too highly graphic for some people. Although our goal for today's seminar is best summed up in one word, prevention, our purpose is not to scare or frighten you. We have given special care to tone down the scary parts, but the information presented is real, and sometimes reality is not pleasant. Let's define terms. A hacker is a criminal that usually wants to make a statement, but generally does no major widespread damage and is not after financial gain. The group Anonymous is a good example. They are big at using denial of service attacks where they bombard a website server until it crashes, but it isn't about money. Crackers, on the other hand, are evil and are strictly out for financial and evil gain. They are responsible for severe financial loss and stolen assets. Stalkers are the sexual predators, bent on sexual crimes against both men, women, and children. Most stalkers only follow and record their victims while remaining hidden, but some will cause bodily harm. Child molesters are criminals that prey only on children and haunt chat rooms, video game sites, and anywhere kids hang out online. You aren't the only ones being targeted. Every person, every corporate, religious, and government entity is a target. Here are some examples. The feds are concerned about hackers opening prison doors. This is an article that is very interesting. If you think about it, everything is computerized nowadays, right down to your traffic lights on your streets that you travel daily. In the federal prisons, all the doors are computer controlled. In fact, pretty much everything, right down to the air conditioning, is computer controlled. The federal authorities in Florida found that hackers were opening the prison doors, and this really freaked them out. Can you imagine being a prison official or a prison employee and all of a sudden all the doors open up? Even God isn't exempt. All right, here's an article that in the New York Times where the Vatican website was attacked. In fact, the Vatican website is quite often attacked, especially the Vatican bank site. Here is an article on the rise is seen in cyber attacks targeting U.S. infrastructure. As I said before, everything is computerized today, including our water supply, our electrical grid, right down to the traffic lights like I mentioned earlier. This is an example of cybercrime at its worst. I mean, a hacker, a cracker can do an awful lot of damage being able to hack into any of our infrastructure. As you might imagine, hacking into banks is a primary target for most hackers and crackers. This is something that is not going to go away. Banks are generally pretty secure, but you'll find that some banks still just don't get it. This is something I really need you to pay attention to if you have a smartphone. Apps, and there's tons of them, as you know, are very, very susceptible to hacking and are used very, very often by hackers to get access to your cell phones. So be aware of that. When you search online, whatever you're searching for, the search engine comes up with what's called a search engine results page, an SERP. This abounds usually with swindles and spams from hackers, so be careful when you are surfing online. We're all familiar with the NSA problem that the media has brought out and brought to our attention about the snooping and spying on our cell phones, our computers, etc. One of the ways that hackers and crackers actually go after people is with GPS tracking, and this is a serious problem, and I'm going to get into this more as we go through the presentation. The NSA has the ability to access information and pretty much all content coming to and going from the United States. The way they do this is not by actually hacking into your personal computer or your email or your cell phone. They actually go to your communication company and they download huge databases of content from those communication companies and then analyze it. Big Brother is watching you. That's a given. You only have to watch the mainstream media to see the extent of which government spying is actually taking place. Government spying isn't accessing your computer and hacking your contents. Like I said, they're directly wired into your internet service providers, the ISPs, and communication companies, and they literally purchase, and the companies literally turn over huge databases filled with your info to the NSA and other alphabet spy agencies. The trick is preventing this is called an eraser in forensics lingo, where all of your info, communications, pics, and messages are wiped clean when you log off any ISP or website. On your personal computer or cell phone, you have the ability to erase information, but it is not completely erased, and in most cases it can be recovered. In forensics, the erasers we use completely wipe everything clean and nothing can be recovered. So there is a downside. We can do this for you under our phone block and tech block programs, as long as you understand that nothing can be recovered. I want to give you some examples of some that didn't get away. In August of 2006, a woman under the moniker of Johnny Be Good began accessing teen chat rooms and posing as a young male teenager. Over an 8-month period, she was responsible for 5 teen suicide deaths caused by cyberbullying. Law enforcement was unable to determine her identity or her location. She operated through a series of offshore proxies based in China and then only through computers she hijacked, effectively hiding her identity and location. On September 26, 2006, she and her mother accomplice were behind bars. The Honeymoon Bandit was one that was really very interesting. In the first quarter of 2007, a man known as the Honeymoon Bandit began preying on women that he befriended in online dating sites. He would marry them, steal all of their assets, then disappear and begin all over again. It took 10 months to track him down and apprehend him, but only after he had married 14 women and stolen their assets. Cyber dating is really very dangerous unless you know what you're doing. So check these books out on Amazon.com. Online dating sites are filled with hackers and crackers along with sexual predators. Always check out who you are dealing with. We can do this for you, but read the books below to discover the perils of cyber dating. Here's another one you'll love. In the summer of 2008, a hacker known as Hackman1 began illegally accessing various corporate databases and stealing personal and financial data in order to commit identity theft. In the course of a 6-month investigation, he was responsible for over 5,566 victims, totaling over $15 million in damages. When he was apprehended, he was on a yacht off the Florida Keys committing more identity theft. Did you know that data mining your personal info is legal? It may come as an extreme shock to you, but there are companies that data mine your personal information and legally sell it to anybody, including hackers and crackers. These companies are so pervasive and invasive that they have some of the worst cybersecurity features in place that protection of your personal information is a joke. There are 2 main offenders that mine your personal info, and both have had a number of security breaches. For example, Epsilon. Epsilon is the largest data mining company in the world, but it's also the one that holds the record for having the most security breaches. Axiom is the second largest, and their record for security breaches is nothing to brag about either. Here's an article from New York Times about selling and mapping and sharing consumer data. And this is basically they use the information on Epsilon. I've highlighted this in blue. Read it and understand that this is where Epsilon has had many, many different types of security breaches. Some of them very, very severe. Another really big one is false tax returns. And this one gave the U.S. Treasury a fit until this year. In fact, it's because of this false tax return problem that the Treasury does not issue checks anymore. It does everything by electronic funds transfers, EFTs. But what happened was hackers and crackers would buy identity theft information, which is readily available online, and I'll show you that in a minute. And they would file tax returns in January before the target would file their tax returns, and they would collect the refund. J. Russell George, the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, testified before Congress that the IRS detected 940,000 fake returns for 2010, in which identity thieves would have received $6.5 billion in refunds. Now that's a lot of money. From 2008 to 2011, the number of returns filed by identity thieves and stopped by the IRS increased significantly. Last year, it was at least 1.3 million, said Stephen T. Miller, Deputy Commissioner for Services and Enforcement at the agency. This year, with only 30% of the filings reviewed so far, the number is already at 2.6 million. The bulk are related to identity theft. As I said in the beginning of my opening statement, where I defined terms, sexual predators are some of the worst cyber criminals. This is an account of a teen-age girl that was abducted. Shauna Newell is her name, and she was kidnapped, drugged, and gang raped and savagely beaten. This goes on every day. It doesn't always hit the mainstream media, but children, especially young girls, and I'm going to talk about this in just a moment, are a very big target for hackers and crackers. Child abduction is a very big problem. Here are 3 examples taken from our case files of children being abducted from various locations. All of them are terrible. None of them are pretty, but they are very, very real. I want to make you aware of some aspects of predation, sexual predation, that is not generally known. All right, there is a group called Dream Board. And this week, the United States Attorney joined forces with the Attorney General and the Department of Homeland Security to announce the largest United States prosecution of an international criminal network. What's even worse about this particular case, the criminal organization was developed to sexually exploit children. Dating back to December 2009, the investigation targeted 72 defendants and more than 500 individuals around the world for their participation in an online organization called Dream Board. This private members-only online bulletin board was created and operated to promote pedophilia and encourage the sexual abuse of very young children. If you have young children, you may want to pay very close attention to the particulars of this case. Let us warn you, however, it's not pleasant, but it is reality. We have a saying in forensic, truth lives a wretched lie, but it outlives a lie every time. Here are some examples from the mainstream media of various cybercrimes that have been discovered and have been prosecuted. And then we have what is called the not-so-legal hacking of your personal info. Sinister truth about Google spies. Street View cars stole information from British household, but executives covered it up for years. Work of Street View cars to be examined over allegations Google used them to download personal details. Emails, texts, photos, and documents taken from Wi-Fi networks as cars photographed British roads. Engineer who designed software said a privacy lawyer should be consulted. Here's a list of companies that know all about you, and you give the information freely to them. This is something that you need to really pay attention to. This is also something that you have to be very careful about what you place online, what information about yourself, about your family, about your loved ones. Pay very close attention to these companies. As I said before, even the government is spying on you if you use certain words, and we knew this long before Edward Snowden's revelations came out. Hundreds of words to avoid using online if you don't want the government spying on you, and they include pork, cloud, and Mexico. The Department of Homeland Security was forced to release a list of offending words following a Freedom of Information request. The agency insists it only looks for evidence of genuine threats to the U.S. and not for signs of general dissent. Yeah, right. The words are included in the department's 2011 Analyst Desktop Binder used by workers at their National Operations Center, which instructs workers to identify media reports that reflect adversely on the Department of Homeland Security and response activities. And of course, we've all heard about the U.S. government using drones, but are you aware they're using drones the size of golf balls to spy on American citizens? The commonality of all these cases, The cases above are examples of cybercrimes conducted over the World Wide Web or Internet. Not all cybercrimes are for financial gain, but in many cases, bodily harm and even death occurs as a result. As large as Forensic Nation is, with almost 22,000 investigators in 22 countries, we don't even scratch the surface when it comes to cybercrime. Even working with counterpart companies in other countries, such as Group IB in Russia, where we share information and exchange databases, cybercrime still runs rampant worldwide and is increasing. At Forensic Nation, we go after the real bad guys. Forensic Nation is organized into special units with expert investigators concentrating on various cybercrime activities. Here are just a few: financial, government, personal, and child molesters. These special op teams are highly trained and highly motivated. Using technology not available to the general public, we infiltrate and gather evidence and intelligence. This is the definition of the word forensics: the gathering and preservation of evidence. We then turn this evidence over to law enforcement for arrest and prosecution. But it isn't easy. Cybercriminals are highly organized. Hackers have their own news organization, their own news network, they even have their own education system, and even their own movie. What's next? Locusts? Boils? What? How to become a hacker. Here is something that you can find easily online. It's a full course written by Eric Stephen Raymond on how to be a hacker. Here's a recent article from the New York Times. In Silicon Valley, they actually have a hostel or a small motel crammed with people that are becoming future hackers and learning how to do it. Are hackers born, or are they created beings? I want to demonstrate to you just how easy it is to become a hacker. Certain legislation has been proposed that makes it easy for hackers to be created. Here's an example of the government enabling hackers and crackers. The Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act is a proposed law in the United States which would allow for the sharing of internet traffic information between the U.S. government and technology and manufacturing companies. The stated aim of the bill is to help the U.S. government investigate cyber threats and ensure the security of networks against cyber attacks. The legislation was introduced on November 30th, 2011 by Representative Michael Rogers and 111 co-sponsors. It was passed in the House of Representatives on April 26, 2012, but it was not passed by the U.S. Senate. Here's a website that basically gives you all the information on CISPA, which means the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act. Hunting is for fools that have never heard about bait. Actually, the hacker underground is complete with their own news sites, news networks, and these are really good things. These sites are where hackers buy their information from other hackers. Info such as identity theft, financial records, social security numbers, etc. So we pose as buyers or sellers and bait the hackers. When they respond, we plant a tracking bug into their computer systems, and instantly they go into our databases. Now you may ask, how do hackers pay for this information without revealing their identities? They use the following pay sites, but even their systems are not that secure. They also like using offshore pay sites because they're outside the regulations of the Patriot Act. So let's identify the problem. So far we have briefly described some of the potential crimes you are facing. The overall problem can best be outlined using two scenarios. First is hacking or spying on your information and personal data. Second is tracking your movements using GPS technology that can result in stalking and or bodily harm. Both can be stopped, both can be avoided and prevented. Now we're going to show you how to take control of your privacy and protect yourself, your business, and loved ones. This isn't difficult and it's not expensive, but it is necessary. Please pay close attention. Privacy is a serious matter, and protecting yourself from bodily harm should always be a primary concern. The solution, in one word, is prevention, and this is where each and every one of you comes in. By conducting our Pinpoint Protect Prevention Program seminars, we educate the public and business owners of the dangers of cybercrime, and the best defense is still a good offense. By offering our Pinpoint Protect Prevention Program workshops, we can teach prevention and tactics to combat even the best cybercriminals. Today, cybercriminals are conducting illegal hacking, child predation, identity theft, denial of service attacks, financial fraud, online scams, phishing schemes, data theft, corporate espionage, and much more. Are you the prey or are you the hunter? Who will keep the keepers themselves? Within the ranks of Forensics Nation and companies like ours exist some of the best hackers in the world. Coupled with this fact is having access to technology that isn't available anywhere in the world. What this means is that our internal compliance and legal teams spend most of their time policing our investigators, and they follow a policy of reverse democracy. They are guilty until proven innocent. Everything our investigators do is scrutinized and policed. If there is any doubt or question, we are immediately notified and asked to explain our actions. Is this policing and scrutiny justified? Oh yes. Give us 30 minutes and we can turn your life into a living hell. In 30 minutes, we can access your bank accounts and steal your money. Tap your cell phone, listen to your phone calls, read your text messages. I can track your movements using GPS. I can learn all about you, where you live, where you work, your habits, if you are single or married, your kids' name and ages, everything. I can access your social media and change your profile and pics. I can post false information about you that will never come off the net. I can find out your religious affiliation, voting records, and more. I will know your car, license info, and insurance data. In short, give us 30 minutes and we will know everything about you, and you cannot stop us because all this information is on the internet and you will never know who we are because we can hide where nobody will find us. Now you know why our compliance people watch us very carefully. Although truth lives a wretched life, it outlives a lie every time. Sooner or later, truth always prevails, and our job at Forensics Nation is to find the truth. We have a saying, an investigation doesn't end until someone is in handcuffs, and we are well known for our tenacity. But as we said before, as good as we are, we need your help to combat the ever-increasing rate of cybercrime. Forewarned is forearmed. So now allow us to describe cybercrime in terms of how it can affect you and introduce you to our programs that protect you. All of what I'm about to describe is in the aforementioned download portal that we will give you at the end of this presentation. Because of the nature of what we do, our forensic investigators are cloaked in anonymity for their personal protection as well as their families. The Pinpoint Protect Prevention Program is important, and so are the prevention products that we introduce to combat cybercrime. We have spent the better part of 32 years in cyber forensic, and we have a good deal of experience with cybercriminal activity. What makes cybercrime so ominous is the fact that our cybercriminals choose to hide behind their computer terminals and never actually witness the damage and harm they do. They are not just immoral, but cowards with absolutely no empathy for anybody, including themselves. But it goes much further than simply being immoral and cowardly. The mindset of cybercriminals is not always something easy to figure out. One of the sister divisions to Forensics Nation is our behavioral science unit called Applied Mind Sciences. With over a dozen doctors, scientists on our staffs, we rely on AMS to assist us in profiling perpetrators of cybercrimes and their apprehension. So without further ado, let's get into the program and begin with personal protection. What is the number one target of all hackers and crackers? Can you even guess? Law enforcement is the number one target of hackers and crackers. Forensic Nation's website is subject to hackers attacked hourly, and I mean hourly. And candidly, we love it too. Why? Because every hacker attack is monitored and defended by our compliance people and our internal security people, and we plant spy software on the hacker's computer to reverse engineer their attack. Now we have another hacker in our databanks to go after. But most law enforcement agencies do not have our technology and protection, so they are penetrated daily. Law enforcement officers worldwide have their cell phones compromised. At Forensic Nation, our investigator cell phones are scanned hourly for spyware. It's truly a jungle out there. Everything cops have and use is unprotected. Anonymous release of MET and FBI calls puts Hacker Group back on center stage. MET is the English FBI. This is where a group of hackers actually were hacking into the phone calls between the FBI and the MET. This is very serious. Two law enforcement agencies, very well known for their technology, are being hacked. The number two target of hackers and crackers are you, and mostly young women. Hackers and crackers go after you in this order of importance. Number one, children. Predators are most active in child abduction and abuse. Women, everything from stalking to voyeurism to sex slavery. Businesses, small businesses are more often targeted due to less protective measures. The general population, in the form of various cybercrimes such as identity theft, computer intrusion, and phishing scams. Government agencies, patient records on file with state record keepers getting hacked. This is the main problem today, medical identity theft. Here are some areas of personal exposure: credit card fraud, identity theft, financial scams, child predation, computer hijacking, malware and spyware, electronic voyeurism, viruses, keystroke logging, phishing, user account and password theft, cell phone spying, online auction fraud, and much more. The above areas of personal exposure are the most prevalent forms of cybercrimes directed against individuals. It is by no means a complete list. You are the target. Surfing the web. One of the ways that hackers get hold of you is when you surf the web. They put up enticing websites, and as soon as you bring up one of your screens, they are secretly downloading spyware onto your computer. Cell phone spying. One of the easiest ways to become a victim of cybercrime is by hacking into your cell phone and installing spyware. Today's cell phone spyware does not require that the hacker have possession of your phone. They simply text or call your cell phone number, and whether it is answered or not, it takes all of about 30 seconds to mirror your phone to the spyware. Spyware of this type is readily available on the open market. Did you know that with the help of a simple, inexpensive device, anyone accessing your phone could read your private text messages, even if you have deleted them previously? This device can even recover contacts and previously dialed numbers. There is also a device that costs a whopping $20 that will tell you the cell phone number of any cell phone within 40 feet of the device. And no, we are not going to tell you where to buy one. The number one personal intrusion is cell phone spying. Here's a list on the screen of all the cell phone numbers in St. George, Utah. St. George, Utah is a city of 80,000 on the border with Arizona and Nevada. There are over 5.1 billion cell phone numbers in the world today, and ForensicsNation has all of them in our database, including yours. But the following slide is where most hackers go to find your cell phone numbers. This is a legal site, phonefinder.net. This is used by law enforcement. This is used by the general public. You can find any cell phone number and any landline number using this website. The above figure is a cell phone list that you can buy on the open market, complete with name, address, and more. We have blocked out the personal names. Here is an example of cell phone spyware available on the open market, and it costs a whopping $15. Once again, we have blocked out the URL. The website below tracks any cell phone in the UK 24/7. And no, we will not show you the US-based one, so please don't ask. There is a website for just about every country, and believe it or not, these sites are free to use. Is it possible to buy services that are untraceable? The short answer is yes and no. I'm going to introduce you a cell phone service that is quite different from all the mainstream services, and then I will introduce you another highly unique service most Americans know nothing about. Later on in the seminar, I will introduce you to other services that are completely free that will assist you in staying invisible on the internet. I strongly recommend that you consider using what I teach you today in order to prevent cyber criminals from accessing your stuff. Straight Talk is available at Walmart, and not only is it a great deal, you can prepay in advance quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Because this is a division of TracFone, the information contained in the phone is generally not stored, and since you do not need to give your personal information, it is safer than traditional cell phone services. Private vaults do not take your personal information and do not even want to know your name. You gain access to your vault using retinal scanning technology. It is virtually impossible to seize the assets in your private vault because your name is not associated with the vault, and you cannot sue an eyeball. Sneaky, eh? Did you know that the federal government can legally seize your stuff? You need to read this book, The Truth About Federal Anti-Hoarding Laws. It is a real eye-opener and describes the legal mechanism the federal government can use to seize any of your assets, especially food stocks. Do not fool yourselves. The government has seized assets in the past during the Great Depression. Precious metals such as gold and silver will be the first targets. Buy coins instead of bullion. Coins have been exempt in the past, and never buy precious metal certificates. Always take physical delivery of what you purchase. Cyber criminals are waiting for you. Your email accounts can quite easily be hacked. There is a software available on the open market that breaks usernames and passwords. Also, if your computer is hacked, most people leave sensitive information on their computers that can fall into hackers' hands. Hacking your hard drive and other data storage devices can be prevented by using disk encryption programs. Firewalls, internet phone, chat rooms, porn, computer hijacking, and much more are other areas of vulnerability. Do not use any of the free email services such as Gmail, Yahoo, or Hotmail. What you need is a private email service like the one above that you can access from the internet under an HTTPS link. Forensic Nation offers a secure and protected email address with unlimited web access for just $4.97 per month. Example, Susie at ForensicNation.com. And you can order it in our catalog that is available on the download portal that I told you about earlier. Now imagine this, there isn't a hacker in the world that's going to go after a Forensic Nation email account. That's just plain dumb. Instead of keeping all of your computer contents on your laptop or desktop's internal drive, use a portable hard drive like the examples above and just unplug it when you are finished. By doing this, thieves do not have access to your stuff. Never place any personal information on your computer's internal hard drive. Here's some really weird stuff that we have uncovered in our investigation. Some of it is just priceless. Look at the picture on the left. Doesn't it look like a digital camera? Well, it isn't. We caught a guy in a department store with this around his neck going around, and we thought he was taking pictures of women. It turns out it's a portable x-ray unit, and we caught this real sicko checking out women in a department store, and so that he could see through their clothing. The wireless camera on the right, this little guy is only 1 inch by 1.5 inch in size. It could be mounted anywhere, like outside your window, spying on you while you are getting dressed. It transmits to the internet using cell phone antennas or your Wi-Fi from your various houses that are around you. Look at the unit on the left. This unit will tell the user your cell phone number, and the user only has to be within 40 feet of your cell phone, like sitting at a table next to you at Starbucks. Now, where would you find one of these handheld portable x-ray devices? We found one on eBay, $759. Can you believe it? On the left is a button camera. You only see the button and it records up to 12 hours. This unit also comes with wireless and can transmit up to 300 yards. As small as it is, it can be installed just about anywhere, and it even works in the dark. And be advised, within about the next 5 years, every law enforcement officer will have a button camera on him. We caught one guy in his car with the monitor unit on the right using a button camera to spy on a Hooters waitress undressing in her apartment. Some people should get a hobby. For only $19, you too can call anyone and change your voice from male to female. Too weird even for me. Who said your email was safe? This software can be installed remotely simply by sending you an email or text message. This is a camera disguised as a Bluetooth earpiece used with cell phones. It also comes with a button camera and comes in wireless mode too. We caught a woman in Starbucks listening in on a competitor's cell phone conversation and then stealing his business contacts. Simply plug it into your laptop and just listen in. Whoa. Here's something for you ladies that really isn't cybercrime. Two-way mirrors in public dressing rooms. And this is something to watch for that is more prevalent than you think. With shoplifting increasing at exponential rates, merchants are desperate to try anything to catch shoplifters, even if it violates your privacy. Always check for two-way mirrors. Use a pen nib or your fingernail. Place it against the mirror. If the images touch, it is a one-way mirror. If there is a gap between the images, then it is a two-way mirror. The photo at the right shows a two-way mirror. Notice that the tips of the fingernail do not touch. Here is an article from ABC News. More women were likely videotaped in Sears dressing rooms. This is a big problem, ladies, and you need to be aware of it. So check every time you go into a dressing room to see if it's a one-way or two-way mirror. The ever-increasing cyber problem. The main problem is that the average computer user has no idea that they are exposed, and even if they do, they have no idea how to protect themselves. As technology expands, the tools available to the hacker and cybercriminal expands too. They keep up with everything on the internet where the average user does not. Cybercriminals are organized into gangs. The most famous is the hacking gang called Anonymous. They use denial of service techniques against major financial institutions that denied WikiLeaks merchant account facilities in 2011. But in countries such as Russia and many of the old Iron Curtain countries too, organized cybercrime gangs are increasing. These are 10 of the most notorious cyber gangs: the Russian Business Network, Rock Fishing Gang, NSA, Gray Pigeon Authors, Stormward Gang, AWALA Gang, DRG Group, South American groups, Oga Nigerian, individual hackers such as Anonymous. As cybercrime increases, so does their income, and this feeds the increase of more cybercrime. Like drugs, cybercrime pays, and it pays very well. I want to introduce you to some of our programs that will protect you from cybercrime of all types. And I want to start with the personal protection programs that we offer. The personal solution begins with consumer awareness and by understanding how cybercriminals work. Not all cybercriminal activities are conducted by organized gangs. A good many cybercriminal activities are conducted by individuals. ForensicsNation offers a product called Personal Protect. This is a comprehensive online PowerPoint presentation and webinar where you participate from the privacy of your home and office. It is taught by our chief forensic investigator, who is considered one of the leading cyber forensic experts in the world. He shows you how to protect you and your family when you surf the web, protect your email, prevent cell phone spying, hard drive encryption, the best firewall and antivirus programs to use, how to use secure chat rooms, and much more. He provides you with all the resources necessary to accomplish all of the above, and most of these resources are free. This is what you get in the Personal Protect workshop: antivirus scans, antivirus programs, backup utilities, disk encryption, email privacy, gamer mode, host-based intrusion prevention systems, internet browsers, internet security training, password managers, removable media control, secure hard drive wiping, software firewalls, spyware detection and removal, spyware prevention, system optimization and privacy cleaning tools, vulnerability scanners, vulnerability and protection techniques for Microsoft Office, PC technician networking, security, web design, graphic design, data management programming, and accounting. There are areas that we address that affect your everyday computer usage. Legal and technology researchers estimate that it would take about a month for internet users to read the privacy policies of all the websites they visit in a year. You know that dream where you suddenly realize you're stark naked? You're living it whenever you open your browser. Your information can then be stored, analyzed, indexed, and sold as a commodity to data brokers who in turn might sell it to advertisers, employers, health insurers, or credit rating agencies. And while it's possible to cloak your online activities fully, you can take steps to implement even the smallest of privacy and security measures. Some of these measures are quite easy and many are free. Of course, the more effort and money you expend, the more concealed you are. The trick is to find the right balance between cost, convenience, and privacy. We show you how. Before you can thwart the snoopers, you have to know who they are. There are hackers hanging around Wi-Fi hotspots, to be sure, but security experts and privacy advocates said more worrisome are internet service providers, search engine operators, email suppliers, and website administrators, particularly if a single entity acts in more than one capacity, like Google, Yahoo, Facebook, and AOL. This means they can easily collect and cross-reference your data. That is, match your emails with your browsing history, as well as figure out your location and identify all the devices you use to connect to the internet. If you search on Google, maybe you don't want to use a Gmail account for your email. If you do not want the content of your email messages examined or analyzed at all, you may want to consider lesser-known free services like Hushmail, RiseUp, and Zoho, which promote no snooping policies. Or register your own domain with an associated email address through services like Hover and Bluehost, which cost $55 to $85 a year. You get not only the company assurance of privacy, but also an address unlike anyone else's. Or remember, you can use the ForensicsNation email service for $4.95 a month. Another shrouding tactic is to use the search engine DuckDuckGo, which distinguishes itself with a "we do not track or bubble you" policy. Bubbling is the filtering of search results based on your search history. Bubbling also means that you are less likely to see opposing points of view or be exposed to something fresh and new. Shielding your IP address is possible by connecting to what is called a virtual private network or VPN, such as those offered by Ytopia, Private VPN, and StrongVPN. These services, whose price range from $40 to $90 a year, route your data stream to what is called a proxy server, where it is stripped of your IP address before it is sent on to its destination. This obscures your identity not only from websites, but also from the internet service provider. Moreover, these services encrypt data traveling to and from their servers, so it looks like gibberish to anyone who might be monitoring wireless networks in places like coffee shops, airports, and hotels. Also, there is Tor, a free service with 36 million users that was originally developed to conceal military communications. Tor encrypts your data stream and bounces it through a series of proxy servers so no single entity knows the source of the data or whence it came. The only drawback is that with all that bouncing around, it is very slow. Free browser add-ons that increase privacy and yet will not interrupt your workflow include Ghostery and Do Not Track Plus, which prevent websites from relaying information about you and your visit to tracking companies. These add-ons also name the companies that were blocked from receiving your data: 1 social network, 5 advertising companies, and 6 data brokers on a recent visit to CNN.com, which is instructive in itself. Companies like Google are creating these enormous databases using your personal information. They may have the best intentions now, but who knows what they will look like 20 years from now, and by then it will be too late to take it all back. You can download the Forensics Nation catalog here with all our products and programs at this URL. Now let's talk about protecting your company and your business. One of the main targets for hackers is small business. The reason why is because small business generally does not have any security measures in place, and it's easier to hack into their bank accounts and their business information than a large company. Here's an example of a small business where the office manager violated policy by visiting a social network site using a business computer, which the company said it believed was how her computer was infected with malicious software or malware that antivirus software did not detect. Taking the fight to cyber criminals. From denial of service and web page defacements to informational theft that can cost your company millions of dollars, the motives and scope of attack may vary, but the solution is the same: understand the threat and implement appropriate countermeasures. FNC Corporate Protect is a comprehensive online PowerPoint presentation and webinar designed to create security awareness and give business owners the unique skills required to protect the information assets of their organization. In this workshop, you will learn what hackers know. You will learn what they can do, how they do it, and most importantly, how you can minimize or eliminate your vulnerabilities to these threats and attacks. The premise of the FNC Corporate Protect is simple. You need to understand the threats to your business. You need to know what you can do to eliminate your vulnerabilities. As each exploit technique is taught, you will perform the task individually, and then you will implement and test an appropriate countermeasure. Here are some areas covered by the FNC Corporate Protection Program: network footprinting, port scanning, and enumeration techniques, specific operating system vulnerabilities, web server vulnerabilities, application-level exploits, worms, viruses, and Trojans, network vulnerabilities, sniffing, wireless sniffing, IB spoofing, and PPTP/VPN breaking. 2 other critical areas presented in FNC Corporate Protect are intrusion detection and incident response. As the name implies, these 2 areas address the tools, techniques designed to give you the advantage of being prepared to deal with hacks if and when they occur. Being able to detect a hack and having a response plan in place will greatly improve your security awareness and further reduce your vulnerability. This course is delivered by Forensic Nation senior security consultants who bring real-world experience to the classroom. Here are the workshop contents. Part 1, the hacker subculture and approach. Part 2, TCP/IP fundamentals. Part 3, reconnaissance techniques. Part 4, compromising networks. Part 5, Windows applied hacking. Part 6, Windows effective countermeasures. Part 7, Unix applied hacking. Part 8, Unix effective countermeasures. Part 9, network security strategies. And Part 10, advanced security techniques. Another one of our workshops is Pinpoint Protect Child Watch. Children are exposed to many dangers. Our children are the most valuable asset, and yet very little is done to protect them from cyber predators and cyber elements. Not a day goes by that ForensicsNation is not working on a child predator investigation, and the trending tells us it is getting worse. Cyber predators truly believe that they can remain invisible as they prey on kids, and this is where they are very wrong. ForensicsNation has caught some of the most notorious child predators. Pinpoint Protect Child Watch combines GPS technology along with the prevention techniques of ForensicsNation and acts as an electronic babysitter. Here is a website that is available to all parents. It's sexualoffenders.com. You can add in your zip code and you can see exactly how many sexual offenders are registered in your community. I think you will be really shocked. Here's an example in St. George, Utah again. St. George, Utah is a small town in southern Utah of 80,000 people, and with a 2-mile radius of downtown St. George, there are 29 registered sexual offenders. We don't worry about the registered sex offenders. The ones we are concerned about are the ones that fail to register. Pinpoint Protect Child Watch. There are always situations that a person finds him or herself in that they cannot control. Pinpoint Protect is here to assist you when you need help. If your child becomes lost, attacked, abducted, injured, or has suffered through a disaster, we know where they are at all times and we can send help. We know where they are because our proprietary GPS technology locates their exact position within 10 yards. We know if they are in trouble because all they have to do is push the SOS button and we go into action. We monitor your child 24/7 through a state-of-the-art central control room where we scan the globe, watching, ready to spring into action whenever we are needed. It doesn't matter where your child is in the world. It doesn't matter how remote a location. The weather doesn't affect our ability to locate them. Even if all services are down and unavailable, Pinpoint Protection is still working and is still able to pinpoint your child's exact location. We also provide you with a password-protected internet interface. You may not know where your child is, but we do, and everybody you give a username password can pinpoint their exact location using our internet interface. If your child is lost, you too can go on the internet and find his or her location, and anyone else that you give permission to locate them. Again, it doesn't matter where they are in the world or the weather conditions, we always know where your child is, and so does anybody else that you give permission to know. And here's how we do it. The biggest problem concerning GPS tracking devices is the battery life. Most GPS tracking devices are only used for specific surveillance for a short period of time, and hence the battery life is only a few hours. Our proprietary tracking unit works on motion and will conserve battery power when a person is not moving. The unit has a battery life of 30 hours depending on the reporting rate you choose. And this is important. First, our unit goes to sleep as long as you are stationary. The minute you start moving, it wakes up and reports your coordinates. This feature saves the battery life and allows our unit up to 3 days usage until it needs to be recharged. The unit comes with a charger and it works just like your cell phone charger. Second, our Pinpoint Protect proprietary software in our control room automatically notifies our personnel when your child has been stationary for an unusually long period of time. Our personnel check your child's location first to determine if there is a good reason that he or she have been stationary. For example, if your child resides in New York and he and she has been stationary after 8 p.m. Eastern Time, then we can easily assume he or she is sleeping. However, if your family is camping in the remote desert of New Mexico and have been stationary for over 8 hours, our personnel will attempt to make contact with you. If we cannot make contact, then we will call the contact people on your application and inquire if they have been in communication with you. If we determine that no one has been in contact with you, we send our people to find you. Furthermore, there is no reason for the unit to be turned off. Even when it is charging, the unit can remain on. Our Pinpoint Protect proprietary software in our control room automatically notifies our personnel when any unit is turned off, and we immediately attempt to make contact. Again, if we cannot make contact, then we will call the contact people on your application and inquire if they have been in communication with you. Here are just a few of the devices we offer. A customer can turn the unit off at any time if they do not want their location known. If the unit is attached to a child, this function can be disabled. This is your choice. If so, we provide a phone number to our control room to notify our personnel that you are turning off the unit so we do not react. Knowing that Pinpoint Protect personnel are just a phone call away is very comforting. For whatever reason, you can always call us for assistance and our personnel will respond. In the workshop, we show you a good many different products to protect you and your children. Some of them are shown on the right. Let's talk about Pinpoint Protect Guardian program. If we lived in a perfect world, there would be no need for Pinpoint Protect Guardian. Unfortunately, just walking outside of your house is fraught with danger. Pinpoint Protect Guardian does many things, but most of all, it offers peace of mind and the ability to keep track of your loved ones 24/7. So if your spouse travels on business, you know where he or she is at all times. If you have elderly parents, Pinpoint Protect Guardian acts as an electronic babysitter. The use and applications of Pinpoint Protect Guardian are endless. Here are just a few. Pinpoint Protect Guardian works for high-profile people, people that are lost, people that are attacked, people that are abducted, people that are injured, works in any disaster, people that travel, people that go to work and come back from work, dating, banking, the elderly, and best of all, teens. It also works for college-bound students. It works for hunting, driving and commuting, pets. The list is endless. We simply cannot list all the scenarios that Pinpoint Protect has been used. Our customers continue to amaze us on how they employ Pinpoint Protect. I want to teach you a little bit about behavioral science. Dreamers covet the object of their temptation, but they covet the temptation more than the object itself, because the temptation is the idol of their fantasy. All sexual predators are dreamers, and the more they embrace a faulty fantasy life, the more they spiral down into the pit of depravity. This is important. What they covet is the temptation of the criminal act more than the object, such as the woman herself or child. This is why most sexual predators are harmless and cause no bodily harm. But some take their fantasies to the extreme, and when temptation isn't enough, they begin to act out their fantasies, and this is when they become very dangerous. Let's talk about some of our proprietary products. PhoneScan is a program that we use to protect your cell phone from any intrusion whatsoever. It costs $19.97, and we scan your phone remotely. You can be anywhere. We dial into your phone, and we can actually discover software, malicious software, spyware, and we can actually remove it remotely. Phone block. Upon discovery of any malicious spyware, we can install our proprietary Phone Block phone app that blocks any and all of the malicious spyware from being installed on your phone. It works on all handsets and remains hidden from any hackers, and it costs only $29.97. TechScan is a unique product. We can remotely scan any desktop, laptop, or tablet computer to discover any malicious spyware or adware, and it only costs $29.97. Best of all, TechBlock. Upon discovery of any malicious spyware, we can install our proprietary TechBlock software that blocks any and all malicious spyware from being installed on your desktop, laptop, or tablet. It works on any computer operating system and remains hidden from detection from any computer protection software such as Norton and McAfee. Best of all, it only costs $49.97. We also provide a service called On-Site Home Scan. We will send one of our forensic investigators to your home and scan both the inside and outside of your home for cameras, bugs, etc. That costs $99. We do the same for business. We call it On-Site Business Scan, and we will send one of our forensic investigators to your business and conduct an internal audit of your computer system and inside-outside premises. That costs $499. Check out our online workshops below and the costs associated with them. You can order any of the workshops using the ForensicsNation catalog, which we will give you in the download portal. I want to point out two very, very important workshops that are very near and dear to me. The first one is trained observation. You look, but you do not see. You listen, but you do not hear. The human mind filters out a good deal of incoming data. If you can't see or hear danger coming, then you are what we call a victim. This workshop teaches you trained observation and how to correct the filters in your mind. After 4 hours of intense training, you won't miss anything whether you see or hear it. The second workshop is called Body Language and Body Talk. One of the most needed talents in personal protection is deciphering what somebody is going to do, and body language gives us away each and every time. Fight or flight is determined by many things, but body language gives you the advantage. This workshop is one of the most fascinating workshops we have ever created. All of our workshops are taught online in Forensics Nation online classroom, and each attendee participates in the privacy of his or her home or office. To see a list of available workshops and/or to participate, download the Forensic Nation catalog here with all our products and programs. We've taken the guesswork out of identifying good quality products and the best prices by publishing our own catalog for your convenience. All of the products contained in our catalog are used by Forensics Nation every day. Download the free catalog and begin protecting yourself and your loved ones today. Without a doubt, subscribing to the monthly Forensic Nation crime scene newsletter is the best $49.95 per year you will ever spend. Hackers and crackers are fluid animals. They are constantly changing their location, their methods of operation, and their targets. Crime Scene identifies the changes our investigators discover, and Crime Scene even sends its subscribers Crime Scene alerts when we deem the information is too valuable to wait for the next monthly issue of Crime Scene newsletter. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed our presentation, but more importantly, I sincerely hope you realize that prevention of cybercrime is your responsibility. Now here's the download link I promised at the beginning of the presentation, so bye for now.